Before we begin, here is a quick reminder about the time management signal. A bell will ring once at 15-minute mark as a reminder, and then twice at 20 minutes to signal the end of the allotted time. For the Q&A session, a bell will ring once to signal the stop. At the 5-minute mark, the bell will ring twice to indicate that the session is concluded. Thank you, and we hope this helps our session running smoothly. This session will be evaluated by Ms. Fatin Suryati binti Yusuf and Ms. Siti Nur Hasina binti Muhammad. Now, our first presenter is Sarkin Terence, son of Mubin, who will share his research on Tesl training teachers' perception and readiness to the implementation of gamification in TSL classrooms. Please join me in welcoming Sarkin Terence.
Thank you, Sati.
Yes, sir. Very good morning to Ms. Fateh and Madam Siti University, and also members of the board. My name is Ambilan from Tesl 2 PISMP June 2025. And today I will be presenting my research title, Tesl Training Teachers' Perceptions and Readiness towards the Implementation of Gamification in ESL Classrooms. So my supervisor for this research is Madam Hayati binti Muhammad Yusuf. So before I begin my presentation, let me explain a little bit about gamification. So what is gamification? Gamification is basically the process of applying game design elements into non-game contexts. And it is different from game-based games, which uses actual games for educational purposes. Next. Okay, background of society. So as we all know, English is a crucial language for both personal and professional growth. And yet, so many students in Malaysia still face challenges in mastering English in areas like grammar and also real-life application. So to address these issues, there's a shift towards more engaging learning methods, such as gamification. And gamification has shown, as noted by DCF and DCFI and also PISMP, gamification has shown promising results in increasing student engagement and also motivation. And these benefits are further supported by Al-Sawaider 2018, who suggested that gamification not only motivates students, but also encourages collaboration, which aligns with Malaysia's shift towards student-centered learning. Problem statement. While gamification offers promising results, the effective use of gamification still heavily relies on teachers, particularly Tesl training teachers, who are still developing their digital skills and teaching proficiencies. So research by ICF 2022 shows that although many Tesl trained teachers recognize the benefits of gamification, still a minority of them lack confidence and practical experience to implement gamification effectively. And this challenge is further complicated by factors like limited digital skills, lack of resources, and reliance on traditional teaching methods, which hinders the adoption of gamified teaching in Malaysian ESL classroom. So to address this gap, it is essential to examine how the future educators view the integration of game elements into their teaching practices and assess their preparedness to effectively utilize gamification techniques. So there are three research objectives that I aim to achieve in this study. The first one is to investigate Tesl trained teachers' perceptions of implementing gamification in ESL classrooms. Secondly, to investigate Tesl trained teachers' readiness to implement gamification in ESL classroom. And lastly, to identify any significant difference in readiness between male and female Tesl trained teachers in implementing gamification in ESL classrooms. So the research questions are directly aligned to the research objectives. And in my study, there's one null hypothesis which states there is no significant difference in the readiness to implement gamification in ESL classroom between male and female Tesl trained teachers. Okay. Now let's move on to research significance. So this research holds significance for three main gamification. And lastly, ITG Malaysia, this research offers valuable insights for ITGM to enhance teacher training programs. Okay. These are my related past researches. I have found about 6 past researches that is closely related to my study. And I would like to highlight some of them that got my attention. And firstly, is the study by Fernandez, Portero, and Castillo in 2022. In his mixed method research, he found that pre-service teachers had a positive perception of gamification in English language learning. And also, in a quantitative longitudinal research, Colono, Magana, et al. Found that there is significant improvement in perception of gamification over time. Next, I'll move on to the next 3 past researchers. And here I would like to highlight on the case study by ICM 2022. In her research, she has found that pre-service teachers have high self-perception of readiness in digital skills and with emphasis on the need for technological competence and adaptability in teaching. And lastly, Yildiz et al. In 2023 in their quasi experimental test study, they found that gamification significantly improved pre-service teachers' perceived usefulness, ease of use, and enjoyment of technology, which is related to technology acceptance model. Next, for my research design, the design that I have employed for my study is quantitative survey. And the questionnaire for this survey uses 5-point Likert scale. Next, the population for this study comprises 57 PISMP June 21-25 intake Tesl privileges at ITG. And to determine the sample size, I refer to the Tarikh and Morgan table, which recommended a sample size of 48 for the population of 55. Since in the Tarikh and Morgan table there's no specified sample size for 57, I took the 55 and the sample size was 48. And once the sample size was determined, I applied stratified random sampling method to ensure a balanced representation of considering the gender disparity in the population. Okay, so this to collect this data for this research, I constructed a structured questionnaire adapted from Oma et al. In their research about gamification in vocational teaching and learning, perception and readiness among lecturers. And my questionnaire consists of 3 parts. In the first part, which is section A, it collects data on demographic information, demography, which is gender and unique. As for the second section, it focuses on perception of implementing gamification in ESL classroom in 12 items. In other 12 items, in section C, it measures the readiness to implement gamification in ESL classrooms. So my research followed a systematic 5-step process, as stated here. And firstly, after constructing the questionnaire with the guidance of my supervisor, I got my questionnaire validated with the JBI. Additionally, I also got my questionnaire checked and validated with Madam Asina to further ensure that the items are valid and without any errors. So after that, I conducted a pilot study with my validated questionnaire to 15 Tesl trained teachers from IPG Sultan Abdul Aziz. And with the results of the PIPE study, I calculated the Cronbach's alpha reliability value to assess the reliability of the question items, which scored an overall score of 0.918, which indicates that the questionnaire are very reliable. After concluding the reliability, I distributed the final questionnaire to my study sample via Google Form to WhatsApp. And once the responses were received, I systematically organized, coded, and analyzed the information using Jamovi statistical software version 2.6.1. Okay. So there are so these are the findings from my study. Firstly, data findings on demography. As you can see here, 75% of the respondents were females, while only 25% of the respondents were male, reflecting a significant gender disparity in the sample. And for the second demographic question, which is units, the sample from 3 units, Tesl 1, 17 respondents, Tesl 2, 15 respondents, and last Tesl 3, 16 respondents. So data findings on research question 1, which is what are Tesl ranges perception of implementing gamification in ESL classroom. So the overall mean score for perception was 4.52, indicating a very high level of agreement among respondents. So to interpret the mean data, I used the 5-scale mean interpretation table by Moiduni 2009. So why did I use 5-scale table? Because 5-scale table allows for more detailed analysis rather than the 3-scale table. Okay, discussion on research question 1. Here I would like to highlight some of the items that scored high means score. So firstly, the highest rated item was item 5 for the question. Gamification encourages people to be more actively involved during ESL lessons. The mean score of 4.71. So this suggests that trained teachers view gamification as a powerful tool that engages students, which is especially important for language learning. And this also aligns with the findings by Mimi and Arthur 2020. And for the next item, which is item number 4, it inquires on gamification, inquires on Tesl trained teachers' perception on increasing people's interest in learning. So this item got a mean of 4.63, and this reflects the concept of perceived usefulness from the thumb model. And this suggests that teachers are more likely to adapt methods they see as beneficial. And for the third item, which is, for the 12th item, it's got a mean score of 4.4. It indicates that trained teachers believe gamification not only benefits students but also improves teaching proficiency of pre-service teachers. Now let's move on to the data findings on research question 2. As you can see, the overall mean score for readiness was 4.31, showing most of the trained teachers feel ready and confident in their ability to use gamification in ESL teaching. So the highest mean score for readiness was on the first item, which is about the awareness of gamification. So this shows that trained teachers are familiar with the concept of gamification, which is essential for effective implementation. As noted by Third 2015, teacher awareness is the most critical step towards successful adoption of technology. And next, let's move on to the sixth item, which scored 4.6. The item was about the confidence in using gamified tools such as Kahoot and quizzes. So this result shows that trained teachers feel capable of applying digital tools in their teaching. And this also aligns with the findings of Mimi et al. Next thing for it scored a mean score of 4.29, and this result is consistent with the technology acceptance model, which perceived ease of use, which is instrumental in technology adoption. And lastly, for item number 3, which scored the lowest score in the questionnaire, it was related to understanding the basic models and frameworks of gamification. While practical readiness is high from the findings, this indicates that there's a gap in theoretical understanding. Alabasi to the rating noted that theoretical knowledge enhances teachers' ability to apply gamification effectively. Next, let's move on to the last research question, which is significant difference in readiness between male and female Tesl trained. So as we can see here, the result shows that there's no significant difference, and this is because the p-value is greater than the 0.05. As we are at Al-Night suggests, the null hypothesis is accepted when the p-value is higher than the alpha threshold. So therefore, the null hypothesis is accepted for this research. Conclusions. So to conclude, this study has found that Tesl trained teachers hold a very high positive perception of gamification, seeing it as a beneficial tool in enhancing student engagement. Next, for research objective 2, trained teachers feel well prepared to implement gamification, and they also express confidence in the tools. So there's some limitations in theoretical understanding. And lastly, there's no significant difference in genders observed. So there are 3 recommendations that I would like to suggest for future researchers. Firstly is on population. I would like to suggest future researchers to use larger and more balanced population, which represents equal representation of male and female teachers. And secondly, for instruments, I would like to suggest future researchers to use updated research instruments that includes more relevant items. And lastly, for research design, I would like to advise on considering qualitative methods like interviews and focus groups to explore more on teacher trainees' perception and readiness. And as for the last part of this presentation, which is implication, this study has several important implications for 3 main stakeholders. Firstly, Tesl trained teachers. So Tesl trained teachers, from the insight of this study, they could further define their gamification strategies and also experiment with varied gamified strategies. For Tesl lecturers, this study gives impact on providing support and structured opportunities, and also encourages Tesl lecturers to discuss the challenges and successes in gamification with the Tesl trained teachers. And lastly, for IP innovation, this study suggests that they could integrate more focused training programs on gamification and technology to better equip teachers for modern interactive classroom. And that is all from me. Thank you.
How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel?
Okay.
All right. Congratulations, Mr. Calvin. Well done, representation. Now, personally, when I'm looking at an overall presentation, it's quite a very clear presentation on the topic itself. It reflects on the it's not really equivalent between male and female. Therefore, definitely, your findings will be biased towards another gender, isn't it? How do you explain that?
So okay, for that particular problem, I use the stratified random sampling method. But before I explain, let me tell you, madam, I'm actually not really quite sure about the stratified random sampling method myself. But I still choose to use the random sampling, stratified random sampling method. So that stratified random sampling method, basically, first we have to decide on the population. So for my study, the population is my batch members, 57. We have 57 teachers. And then I divided them into two strata, which based on their gender, male and female. Then after that, I determine the sample size based on the Tesl and Morgan table, which is 48. Okay. Here comes the best part. Okay, since in 57 people, there's 45 female trained teachers and 12 male trained teachers. So in statistical representation, there's 79% of female trained teachers and 20, 25, 26 something. Okay. So I converted it into ratios. So the ratio was 15:4. But this one is for population. But after I choose my sample, it becomes 48, and I could make the ratio as 3:1 because my male respondents were 12. As for the female respondents, I could make it 36. So that's that could actually maybe assist me in finding a more reliable, accurate finding.
Alright. Meaning that you are using certified sampling. But then I look there on certified sampling. But it's okay. It's a process of learning. When we talk about you are just there talking about certified sampling. At first, agree that you have to go for the population. You look at your population and then go to you divide them into the sampling. So here you will have your male and female, right? So the next process between male and female, maybe the way of reading the interpretation of the that type stuff later on. Maybe you can double check here with methodology, the unevenness of this one on the ratio, right? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sarvin.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, miss.
Second, I got one question, but then I was just wondering, what theories do you use to support your finding? Only just now, that's it.
Okay, before I further define my thesis, I actually use socio-cultural theory by John Piaget, if I'm not mistaken. I use that theory because I want to relate it to the effects of gamification, like the benefit that it could give to students. And so it was not really related to my research, so I just removed the theory from my research.
All right, thank you, Sarvi. Good job. Okay.
Okay. I feel so
But your IQ very clear cut. I think you don't remember that. Good job.
Thank you to our panelists for their questions and feedback, and your presenter for their wonderful response. Our next presenter is who will present her research on Tesl teaching experience on interpreting history run in teaching vocabulary and practical quiz one. Please welcome him. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Shafika Baby from Tesl, and my supervisor is the second here. Okay, so today I will present to you my research and other basic teaching experience of independent right in teaching vocabulary to practical based on. Okay, so first let's look at the breakdown of the study. Okay, so teaching vocabulary is a crucial part of how students teach. However, there are some problems in teaching vocabulary, such as the time constraints and also the material selection. So, in order to cater to this problem, we implement lesson right to overcome the difficulties in teaching vocabulary. Furthermore, in IPG, practical is a key part of the teaching program. So, teachers can spend 12 weeks in school to gain practical experience and applying their skills. So, this research is really important in order to explore the experience of teacher journey in interactive lesson, right? To teach vocabulary during their practical phase one before. Next, this is my problem statement. The problem statement is related to the difficulties in teaching vocabulary. Some of the difficulties in teaching vocabulary is the ineffective vocabulary teaching method. It is because the teacher usually use the traditional method in the teaching to teach vocabulary. For example, they just give direct translation of the vocabulary to the student, and the student just jot down the meaning of the vocabulary in the notebook. So it will make the lesson become parts, and the student will lose interest. And the next one is regarding the material selection. So a research by Swardi and Sapi stated that the teacher have a very hard time to search for the material that suit the different learning style and learning needs of the student to teach vocabulary. And the next one is the time constraints. So based on the research by Sari and Ambilan, the teacher find it is difficult to implement a to teach vocabulary, and they have a very hard time to apply a creative and a variety of media in teaching vocabulary. So it will take a lot of time. However, if this issue and difficulties are not being addressed, there are some factors. For example, the first one, it will reduce the engagement and motivation of the student. And the next one is it will hinder the students' English mastery as they are still struggling with vocabulary. And the last one is leading to lower reading comprehension and writing skill. It is because when the students have a variety of vocabulary, started in the language development. Next, this is my research objective and research questions. So basically, in my research, I tend to explore how the teacher training with students right in the lesson and the difficulties that the teacher training face during the integration. Next, this is my research certificate. So the certificate of this research is lecture can offer available data to design more supportive or targeted training programs in implementing necessary to the teacher training. And next, for the school administrators, so the school administrators can provide this. And the last one is for the teacher training from these services. The teacher training can develop adaptable strategy and recognize the pedagogical value of necessary learning, so they have awareness on the use of the necessary learning. And next, this is the research theory in my study. The first one, I use the question effective filter hypothesis theory. Okay, so basically, question highlight the importance of the positive environment so that the student can have an effective learning. So, it is crucial for the teacher to create a safe space for the student where they are allowed to make mistakes and they have low anxiety during learning session. So, in this theory, suggests that necessary rights offer a local original way for the student to learn confidently and confidently. And next theory is about the multiple intelligence theory. I use only one theory, which is the musical intelligence. So individuals with strong musical intelligence excel relaxing and qualified, so they can remember the vocabulary more. Apart from that, students are more easily issued during lesson when they include reading and learning components. So basically, this theory suggests that the use of necessary time is effective in vocabulary learning because the student can recall the vocabulary when they use the necessary time from the learner and the body of necessary time. Next, this is my related structures. So basically, all of the research highlight the use of necessary time that can improve the student vocabulary. So I want to highlight the research from this model where they did the horizontal experimental design, where they choose the experimental group and the control group. So the experimental group they use necessary time to teach vocabulary, and the control group they use necessary time to teach vocabulary. And finding shows that 20.1% of the experimental group classified into the excellence score and they use necessary time. However, in the control group, they are not that achieve the excellence scores. And the last one is writing method, where they construct the semi-structured interview, and then they will find different teacher, and all the teachers said that using necessary time can help the student to learn more vocabulary faster. And this is my research design, where I use the qualitative research, and I also integrate interview as my instrument, and I also use thematic analysis to analyze data. So my participant is from the three participant of basic training in June 2021, and I also use purposes and to choose my participant. And I achieved the triangulation of the data by interviewing three different participants. This supported by him and Fox. They said the triangulation can be achieved by different methods such as multiple theories, data sources, method, or integrated. So in my study, I used the triangulation of data sources, and this also supported by Peter, 1999. He said the triangulation can be achieved by the process of combining the data of many sources. So I achieved the triangulation by comparing the diverse viewpoint of the participant. Next, this is my research procedures. And next, the data collection procedures. And my data analysis procedures. And this is my data findings for the RQ1, where I tend to investigate how the teacher training integrates in the lesson. So based on this RQ1, I have two views, which is the integration of necessary in the lesson plan and the use of teaching aid. Okay, for the first thing, the integration of lesson, right? The participants say they integrate lesson, right? In multiple type of stages. So they integrate lesson, right? In the induction, presentation part, the production, and the closure stage. For this induction, they use lesson, right? To capture the student attention. For the presentation part, they use lesson, right? To highlight the key vocabulary. And for the production and closure part, they use it to reinforce and review the vocabulary they have learned. And last one is the use of teaching aid teams. So they use teaching aid to prepare with the lesson, right? In order to have the student to have better understanding with the vocabulary. So some of the teaching aid use visual aid, dialogue, and hands-on learners. So this teaching aid can enhance memorization and also can visualize the student to understand the vocabulary better. Next, this is my data findings for RQ2, which then to investigate the difficulties that the teachers can face in integrating this in each vocabulary. There are 5 things total. And this is my discussion for the RQ2. For the first one, for the classroom management, based on the all of the participants, they are using this the students are overly excited. So it really is not distraction and the student can maintain the focus. So the teacher have struggling to regain the focus. In the classroom administration area, there are 3 issues here in large class size, where the class is too big and crowded today. So the audio of the lesson was insufficient. And the next one is regarding that issue, where the participant encountered a problem with the malfunctioning speaker and low pitch of the speaker, so we will instruct the lesson as well. And the last one is regarding the okay. So as we all know that daily listening exam will take a lot of time, and the student also always ask them to take the listening exam again and again. So it will take a lot of time in integrating this to teach audio. And this is my conclusion to the findings that I presented before. And this is the implication based on my research. So the first one is from the IPGM, where IPGM can produce a workshop to talk in teacher training about the classroom management, or they also can produce some modules of the pedagogical use of the lesson, so that the teacher training can have the awareness on how to use the lesson correctly. And the next one is about the school administration, where they can provide resources such as the multimedia tools or maybe necessary books or the visual aid to help the teacher to have a better teaching and learning process and teaching vocabulary using this. And the last one is for the teacher training. Teacher training can develop a strategy to use necessary to cater to all of the differences of the student. For example, for your background, maybe the styles. And the last one is regarding the recommendation. So I suggest for the future researcher, initiate research participate. For my case, I use the teacher training participate, and I suggest the future researcher use the experienced teacher in the school, so they have a better experience than the teacher. And the second one is the methodology. Maybe the future researcher can use quantitative can use quasi-experimental design, where they have the experimental tool and control group, so they can investigate the impact of the use of nursery rhyme to teach vocabulary. And the last one is the research theory. So in the research theory, the future researcher can investigate how the language acquisition theory works in the differences of the cultural background of the student. For example, in this research, we found that the cultural references of the unfamiliar words in the nursery rhyme is unfamiliar to the student. So if we can investigate on how we can adapt this nursery rhyme to local context and give impact on our learning effectively. So I think that's all for me.
Thank you, Shantika. Okay, right. Good job. This is interesting topic. I have a few questions. Okay, let's try one by one. I was just wondering what technique or model did you use to analyze the qualitative data? The thematic coding that you use, is there any model or any strategy?
From the top, I used to be the analysis.
Okay. And then how do you translate your data? Because I just saw an interview as the, did you only use interview or you have any more?
Interviews, so I did the translation by having the data from many resources, from the participant activities, participant 1 to interview.
How did you translate using participants? Okay.
But then coming to that, since Ms. Fatin has asked about participants, how do you actually, okay, the chosen of your participants would be based on which sampling method?
Purposes and
Purposes sampling. Now, do you stop at 3 or how many, initially at first, how many participants do you have for your research?
actually, I started 3 and I stopped at 3 because I encountered that they always repeated the same questions. Like the 2 person also they just repeat the same
Gave you the
question.
same finding.
They give the saturation data.
Alright, so your data has been saturated after the third participant.
Yes.
Alright, so it's doable then. Because I want to know whether your data has been saturated or not. If your data has not been saturated after the third, you have to go
Inspired way.
Actually, I have a question where I asked them, for example, this is what I like in introduction process. And before I choose the example, I asked the population, as I interview the population, and identify the one who did nursery rhyme in their past practical before.
Do you have some example of nursery rhyme that they mentioned?
The mention is the healthy food, the people in the stuff. Some of the participants use nursery rhyme to year 5 to teach healthy food, and they find that this is healthy food. I also asked them.
I didn't, but there's healthy food for the topic. But
but the
do
nursery
they use the rhyme or they really because that's my background. Is this nursery rhyme like Baba Black Sheep is nursery rhyme, London Bridge is falling that is nursery rhyme. So the current one that we have, the one that you had in school, I don't think they're quite nursery rhyme. They're more like the song. Yeah, the song itself.
Usually they use it in YouTube from the nursery rhyme apps. For example, recommended the pink form. I also ask the questions where which channel of the YouTube that they use. So I can identify that it was nursery rhyme.
So all your 3 participants are using the same YouTube channel, the same song,
No, they have
different nursery rhymes.
Just like introduction to my research.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Pelajar. Oh.
Right now. No, I mean like the conference, today, right now.
No.
We are
Yeah.
on the international conference.
So Iman is already at the point. So we are, I think the RC is already assembling. Any room is
What time is it?
should be 11 lessons. We are the ICCH and the national conference. Yeah, the science minute.
Oh.
I wasn't in this, so I told you this.
Either me or I.
But you know already what to say.
Right.
But that's good, okay? Okay,
Thank you.
We appreciate organizers for their wonderful presentation and thank you and thank the presenter for providing thoughtful answers. For our next presenter is Dr. Ambilan, who will present her research on the perception of IPTM languages on the impact of collaborative learning in exam preparation. Please welcome. Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very happy to respected panel with Zina and Miss Fati, as well as the fellow presenters from and everyone who is here today. So I am standing here excited to present my research titled The Perceptions of IPTM to the RI, Tesl Teacher Trainings on the Impact of Collaborative Learning in Exam Preparation. I am Mara Ambilan, from Tesl Group, we are currently June 2021. So for your information, my research journey is supervised and guided by the designer. So before we go into my research, let me give you the overview of my research title. So the Tesl program is one of the courses that is being offered at JBI, and it stands for Teaching English as a Second Language, and it prepares the teacher trainee with both content and pedagogical knowledge on how and prepares them to be English teacher in primary schools later on. So throughout their degree completion journey, Tesl students are required to participate in collaborative learning, whether through tutorial tasks or continuous assessment project. So collaborative learning refers to an alternative learning approach, which it requires the students to learn together in a group and achieve a shared goal. So the study aims to investigate their perception on the impact of collaborative learning in exam preparation. So let us take a look on the background of my study. So final examination is a critical component attended by good STEM community, and final examination is taken very seriously by the tertiary education students. While the secondary school students are busy collecting A's in the SPM, tertiary students strive to maintain and boost their CPA through examination. So while preparing for the exam, it is unavoidable for them to be hit with great stress, and it may lead to test anxiety. As stated by Akshaya et al. 2021, test anxiety may interfere during the preparation period and negatively affect their performance if the distress becomes so excessive. So it is very critical for the students to address this, and one of the way they overcome the test anxiety is by choosing to apply collaborative learning. So in IPTM PDRI, collaborative learning is a culture because and our campus also provided facilities like using a library, classrooms that helps provide spaces for them to gather and study together. Aside from academic advancement, collaborative learning also helps in cultivating soft skills among teacher trainees. As stated by TAM 2020, it is essential for teacher trainees to have soft skills like communication, interpersonal skills, as they will need to apply that skill at school level. So this research was conducted to examine their perception on the impact of collaborative learning in exam preparation and social emotion. Next, there are three issues that prompt me to do this study. So the first issue is exam failures among higher education students. So as stated by Lim at all 2003, exam failures not only impact the students emotionally and risk and open the risk of expulsion, but it also affect the institutional reputation. And the second issue that drives me to study about this topic is because the lack of emphasis on developing soft skills. As stated by Chen 2024, teacher trainees put more emphasis on content mastery over the development of soft skills. And the third issue is the absence of clear data creates ambiguity in the perception of teacher training. So that's why I want to study about this. Okay, this is my research objective and its introduction. This is my research hypothesis. My research will be significant for three different parties, which are Tesl teacher trainees, IPGM Tesl lecturers, and Institute PISMP Malaysia, IPGM. My research are grounded within these two theories, which are social constructivism by Vygotsky 1978 and social interdependent theory by Johnson 2018. So both of these theories emphasize that learning happens in an interactive environment. Next. So these are the past researches that I refer to while conducting this research. The first one is by Capital 2024. This research is done in Indonesia, which titled A Survey of Collaborative Learning Among TFL Senior High School Students. So her research is foundational in my study because I adapted my questionnaire from her research. And the second one is by Poti et al. 2023, which titled Collaborative Learning, a Design Challenge for Teachers. And next, let's look at my research design. I employed a quantitative approach, which I employed a survey. Why? Because I want to utilize a larger population and sample. So the next one is my population. 57 PISMP Tesl June 2025 teacher trainees. I choose this population because they have multiple experiences with collaborative learning throughout their study journey. Next one is sample. I employed 52 PISMP Tesl June 2025 as recommended by PhD and Morgan 1970. Okay, for the instrument, I utilized an online questionnaire, which specifically Google Forms, because as stated by Howard 2019, stated that online questionnaire helps in boosting respondent response rate. Okay, my instrument is adapted from two past research, which is Cavitas 2024 and Post et al. 2020. My research instrument consists of 29 items, as stated by Sharma 2024, who suggests that A total number of 25 to 30 items is effective to boost the response rate among the respondents. And my questionnaire was organized into 4 sections. So you can see here. For the section C and section D, a 4-point Likert scale was utilized for attended by Chang. A 4-point Likert scale with 4-point Likert scale promotes more decisive feedback from the respondents because it excludes the neutral option. Next, this is my data collection procedures and my data analysis procedure. To analyze my RQ1 and RQ2, I use descriptive analysis, and to analyze my RQ3, I use inferential analysis, which is independent sample feedback. Now, let's look at the data planning for research version 1. Let's look at the summary. Okay, this is the summary for my research version 1, which aims to investigate the preference of collaborative learning approach by the Tesl teacher training. And the finding of my study, similar to the finding by Pagi et al. 2024, and further support the validity of my findings. Next, for research question 2, I analyzed the meaning, and this is the discussion for research question 2. From the overall high mean scores from both constructs, it indicates that Tesl teacher training perceive collaborative learning positively. So my finding aligns with the previous research by Kavita 2024, Jagatan and Kira 2024, who also found in their respondents that they also prefer collaborative learning. And my finding aligns with their research theories, which is social constructivist theory, who suggest that collaborative learning is preferred by the students because they learn from the interaction with others. This is my data findings for research question 3. So the probability value that was observed here is 0.009, which is less than the significant level, 0.05. So from the p-value, we can conclude that there is a significant difference between the perception of male and female learning on the impact of collaborative learning. So the null hypothesis was rejected. So this is the discussion. So from the significant, you can see from the table just now, you can see that female teacher training have a more positive perception of collaborative learning compared to male teacher training. So my finding aligns well with the past research done by Tarikh and Tesl, Tarikh 2011 and Tesl 2018, who also found that their female respondents perceive collaborative learning more positively than the male respondents. To further support this finding, I do some readings and found in a study done by Lin et al. 2020, who noted that females tend to be more socially sensitive, favor relationship building, and avoid competition. So that's why female respondents favor collaborative learning more than male, because male acquire less emotional intelligence than female, as stated by Ogos et al. 2014. So this is the conclusion of my study. This is the recommendation that I would like to suggest for future researchers. First, I would like to suggest for future researchers to involve a bigger population in order to gain more reliable findings. And the second one is in terms of instrument. I recommend for future researchers to cover some other impact of collaborative learning aside from exam preparation and social emotion. To see the other benefit that collaborative learning can offer. The last one is research design. Future researchers are recommended to employ qualitative or mixed method approach, which can further investigate this research topic and gain more richer finding. And the last one, my research impact three different parties, which are IPGM, Tesl teacher trainees, IPGM Tesl lecturers, and IPGM. For IPGM Tesl teacher trainees, my research focuses in making more informed decisions about incorporating group study sessions in their exam preparation. And also, it can help the teacher trainees, it can motivate them to develop their own social emotional competencies in order to become a functional and effective member of the group. And the second one is impact on lesson lecturers. It will guide the lecturers in choosing instructional method that best align with the preferences of teacher trainees. And for IPGM, can advocate for more group-based learning activities within its curriculum framework. That's all from me.
I do not have concern regarding your concern, but my concern is more on the face of your presentation slide. This is like not just for you, but I think for everyone. I think you might need to make sure that your slide, especially the font, is big enough and the color that you choose wouldn't actually blend with the color of the background. For example, in terms of the implication, the background is blue and then the color of the font is blue. And I noticed that the way you presented, you just said that this is the conclusion and you skip to another one without telling what are the conclusions. So I think it's very important. Because this is important to highlight what is the conclusion of your finding, but then you just skip now, go right over to the recommendation implication, which you have not skipped anyway. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. In your study, you highlighted two theories, right? One is social construct theory, and second is social interdependence theory. Now, you did discuss and highlighted to us on how the social constructivist theory is relevant to the study. However, you did not touch on the social interdependence theory. How do you actually use this theory in your research?
Thank you for your question. Actually, I use the theory in supporting my finding for research question 3, but I forgot to put it in the slide. So, social interdependence theory refers to the act of the member of the group. Sorry.
Maybe you can define to us, give us an overview of what is social interdependence theory, and next, how do you apply this theory to your Q2, RQ3?
Social interdependence theory refers to the group member and prioritize the group success as a whole. And everyone
Works together.
And achieve the success together. So, female teacher training tend to have that quality where they support each other emotionally compared to male. So that's why I apply the social interdependence theory to support my finding for research question.
So that theory aligns with your research findings. Okay. Thank you very much. That's clear.
Thank you.
appreciate the families for their cooperation and support. And we would also like to thank the presenter for their detailed and thoughtful responses. These will be seated while the panelists finally ask remarks for the best presenter. We commend all presenters for their hard work and insightful research. Our gratitude also goes to the active panel of examiners for their valuable feedback.
Okay, so the best presenter is awarded to Siti Syafika.
Alright, congratulations.
It has delivered the token.
Okay.
How they did the silent for me, they are anyway.
The break.
Congratulations everybody for the presentation.
Yes. Sure.
You ready? Go, cuba. Okay lah.
Congratulations.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Please smile. Alright. Alright, thank you. Thank you, well done. Yeah, boleh graduate.
Okay, Jida.